Civilization 7 has been announced, and you're probably just right now scouring the internet to look for some information on the game, some screenshots, some quick leaks. And I have some bad news for you. Unfortunately, there is none right now. We have zero information on the game itself. We got a cinematic trailer which told us, hey, gameplay is coming in August, and it will probably be by the end of August when Gamescom is happening. Because if there's one thing which has been ring true for decades now, is you want to make sure that your strategy game is selling a lot of units, bring it to Germany. The Germans love strategy games, and it makes sense that they are showcasing it at Gamescom. Now, as I said, unfortunately, in the cinematic trailer, we don't really get anything from the game. There is one particular thing you can gleam on a little bit, and that is the idea that you have now multiple narrators going through the ages. As you might remember, normally we have only one narrator per game, and that's it. And they have mostly showcased that specific narrator in the cutscenes or in the first videos they showcased. And this time they have multiple one. Maybe we are getting now one narrator per age, which would be pretty cool, I guess. But that isn't really gameplay, is it? So the only thing we can do here is speculate, and I want to throw in my own three ideas I really want to see improved with the next Civilization game. And the first one is the ages. The ages are super important in this game, and technically you are not really going through the ages. Like if you are looking at some of the other 4X games out there, jumping through the ages is a much more specific thing. Here in Civilization, you always just go through the tech tree, and then when you research a specific new research in that new age, you are basically moving over to that next age, right? It's a thing which is happening in the background, and that's completely fine. But what I want to see is I want those ages having more impact, especially early on. Like, when was the last time you have played a round of Civ and you are not a hardcore player? I'm talking about like a normal playthrough of Civ, right? And you have made like a big power move, which has defined a lot of what you were doing for the next few ages in, let's say, the Bronze Age, or in the medieval age, or even in the Renaissance age. Like, the problem I have with ages is that I always feel like the earlier ages do not matter as much, or is not as impactful than the later on ages. And that goes for a lot of things. Yes, you are growing, there's a lot of different things. Like, you are playing for different goals in the early ages than the later ages. I get that. But I still feel like the ages could be more impactful, right? Like, you make a decision that, let's say, in the Renaissance age, you want to focus more on culture, but because of that, you are unlocking some very powerful culture boons or research trees or whatever they can do there. But you will also lose some of them in, let's say, the military aspect of the game or the economy aspect of that game for this particular age. And of course, this is hard to balance because just think about it. You are in the middle of boosting your culture, and then a lot of other civilizations declare war on you, and then you wouldn't have access to like all the military units. That would be pretty bad. They cannot do that. So they have to find like a middle way to just make those ages more impactful. The next thing I want to see is make also the leader more impactful, and have some leaders which are really laser focused on certain aspects, which are not just for one particular age. They have tried something like that with the leader expansion pass. So if you have never looked at that, they had some leaders which were really focused on one particular aspect of your playthrough, right? And they were really, really powerful in that. But again, they didn't have like general perks. And I want to see that more. I want to see leaders which are really focusing on science, on economy, on culture, on something like that. And more importantly, give them abilities which are not just, or perks, which are not just good for one age. Like, let's take Caesar here. Caesar has been around civilization for a long time now, and I think there wasn't a single game where he wasn't in. Unfortunately, Caesar is one of those characters which are okay in the early ages, right? Because Iron Age and all that, but later on loses just so much of its interest. Like that character becomes really weak later on. And one of the reasons is that, again, your early ages are not as impactful, and you will leave the Iron Age behind relatively quickly. And then again, Caesar is just fizzling out and is not that impactful as he could be. And I want that to change. I want that those characters have something even later on. I know, this is not really close to history, and I know that some people will be unhappy with that, but from a purely gameplay perspective, I would love to see that. And that leads us to the last thing, which also has to become more impactful, or, well, has to change, in my opinion, are the wonders. Wonders have been a part of civilization since the first one. And they have been civilization games where wonders have been super powerful, like Civ 5. In Civ 5, wonders have been so powerful that if you didn't get like certain wonders, this would really impact your gameplay and would put you in a bad spot, right? You wanted to get like specific wonders which were really powerful. So they took that away in Civilization 6, right, and tried to find a general balance. But I think they wasn't really successful with that. There were still too many wonders which were just meh, right? Where you were just looking at the wonder and you thought, okay, if I get this wonder, that's fine. If I don't get it, whatever, right? Like, I had games where I sometimes didn't even get any wonders. And you know what? It was fine. There was not a single setback because of that. Sure, if I got certain wonders, I got a nice boost, but they were never really mandatory, right? And I would love to see like wonders. They don't have to become mandatory, but I would love to see just to have like they have a bigger impact for the whole of the game, and they're kind of like this pinnacle of an age you are in right now. And maybe if you are finishing a wonder in a certain time frame till, let's say, you're reaching the end of the Bronze Age and you have to build the pyramids till then, you get an extra boost on some of the perks they're giving you. I would love to see something like that, right? Like, make them a little bit more impactful. They don't have to be OP again, but definitely a little bit more impactful as they are right now in Civ 6. But yeah, those are the three things I would really love to see being changed. There's much, much more, of course. Like, there's so many little things I would love to see changed in Civ 7. I have a whole wish list, and maybe we are talking about that down the line. But those are like the big three I really think they could be improved to be more interesting in Civilization 7. Let me know which things you would like to see being improved in Civilization 7, 7 down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and leave a subscribe if you love strategy games, because that's what I'm focusing on here on the channel. With that said, see you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.